Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast from the attraction and entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you with a last-minute podcast. Not going to lie. We posted earlier this morning that Haunt Weekly was going to be a little bit late, but it was going to be done. Blame AEW.
Yeah,
They
fair.
They hosted a 4-hour pay-per-view that started at 7 p.m. and went to 11. We're old fuckers. We can't do 4 or 5 hours of wrestling and then do a recording, apparently, is what we've learned.
Yeah.
That was the original plan, but we just did not feel up to it. And honestly, it was neither of us. So unless you wanted grumpy, groggy, sleepy us, not at our best, probably not the way to do it. So we decided to record on Monday itself, a rare thing. We don't do this very often.
No.
It also means if we fuck this up, we don't really have an opportunity for a second take.
Yeah.
Yay! So if you want to see it, if you don't like this episode because of that, please check out more Haunt Weekly at hauntweekly.com or Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/Haunt Weekly is the YouTube channel. A great way to access prior episodes. We'll be referencing a few here. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcast from. And definitely keep an eye on Facebook.com/Haunt Weekly. We sometimes do live streams there. Like I said, lately we've not been able to, but we're hoping to pick back those up soon. So Facebook.com/Haunt Weekly. Stay tuned there. Well, anyways, first thing is first. I don't think we have much in the way of a housekeeping note to go through. We don't have any of that type of stuff to do. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're just going to kick right in because last week we asked you guys a question. You guys answered. Big shock, I know. That's how questions work. And last week's question was a simple one. With Trans World coming up, what are your Trans World plans? And we got a lot of responses on this one. So apparently a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on Trans World. Big surprise, I know.
Lots of people saying that they were going.
Yeah, most people said they seem to be going. Scott Musso had a great one where he said he's going to check out the Haunt Tour, which we discussed in the conference reminders last week, talking about how that is a Chicago tour. So Scott's going to see a lot of great haunts. We know all but one of those haunts ourselves. Thank you, Japes. And we might be mentioning Japes and the Lost Souls Haunted Bus Tour in a little bit more in this episode too. He's also going to get Chaos certified and experience Trans World for the first time. Then he's going to drive home 11 hours solo.
Yeah.
That part sucks. I'm not going to lie. That just sucks. The Cornstalkers Trail of Terror, we don't know who it was there, but someone from their page said that they're taking classes, and will be Christmas decor shopping. Ooh.
Interesting.
I am intrigued. And of course, we saw several vendors who were looking forward to selling, network, selling, a lot of that going on too. So yeah, that's pretty cool stuff if I say so myself. Of those not going, though, we did have some of those. Eric Rudd said he's staying home and drinking because he's sad. Oh, don't do that. I advise you to follow what Sam Farrell is doing. I think he's got the right idea for those not going. He'll be sitting at home and living vicariously through streams and uploads on groups like Haunters Hangout.
No.
That's a damn good strategy there, Sam. And that's probably a lot of what we'll be doing, too, to be honest with you. We'll be watching the various haunt groups, see what's posted. Because the main thing, Trans World for us, the main thing we try to get is someone that doesn't go. Is we're going to try to figure out what the one big thing is.
Yeah.
There's always one thing.
There is.
That catches everyone's attention. What's the big thing? One year was the flaming pipe organ that went on to cause the huge patent IP controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah, flaming something.
And there was the giant clown.
The Pennywise clowns, the year of Pennywise. Yeah. Oh my lord. Yeah, that didn't go as well. So yeah, we're going to try to figure out what the one big thing is. So in the meantime, I'm going to start some fights. I'm in a feisty mood.
Okay.
So I picked this week's question, I expect some fights. Well, probably not, actually. But this could start some fights, and I recognize that. But what city, in your mind, is the best city for haunted houses and haunted attractions?
Now, do the cities have to actually have haunted houses, or is this just a city that should be known for haunted houses?
Or like a place that, like, I would say it's a place like where you go to see a lot of haunted houses. Like Atlanta itself doesn't actually have a lot of haunted houses, but it has a shit ton. Very, very close on the ring roads. So I would say Atlanta is a great candidate. It has a lot of great haunted. It has Netherworld. Even though Netherworld's actually in the Cross, we get that. It's not actually in Atlanta. But please think metro area, not actual city limits. Because otherwise New Orleans only has one haunted house.
Okay, so we're talking about existing haunted houses.
Yes.
Okay.
What in your mind is the best city to visit haunted houses? Because that's the theme of this episode. Visiting and seeing haunted attractions. And so, what city do you think is the best? And honestly, I'm kind of asking this for two reasons. One is it's thematically correct for the episode, but it's also, we might be taking suggestions for future haunt trips.
Yeah.
I don't know about this year, but future ones, we may be taking suggestions on. And I hope we at least have this year's semi-planned. I know what I'd like to do. We got to get back in touch with people and see if we can make it happen. But I got thoughts on this year's already. So anyways... It's been a rough few years for haunting and haunters. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And in the before times, as we like to think of it, we became pretty well known for aggressive weekend trips to haunted houses. Usually taking one day off a Friday or maybe part of Monday too. But generally speaking, we became very well known for hitting up haunted houses and doing these massive trips. And we have done several of these in the past. And the goal of these trips is always the same. Visit as many haunts in as little time as possible. Well, spending as little money, too, ideally.
Yeah.
But that's a kind of a secondary goal, admittedly. This is our splurge. This is our vacation. You don't want to completely overspend. We ain't staying at no 5-star hotels or anything.
No.
We're lucky if we get the hotel as a mattress half the time.
We're lucky if we can find it.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ. The Atlanta trip, that hotel. That was the one thing that nearly went sideways on that trip.
Yeah, I know.
Was trying to find the hotel. Tiniest driveway. See the big fucking hotel. You could see the building.
Yeah.
See the building is fine, but the tiniest little driveway next to a fucking McDonald's. Basically, you had to go... behind it. Technically, you had to go into the McDonald's.
Yeah.
And it was bad because this was the same week in the Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
Was out, so McDonald's was a little kooky. But anyways, more on that later. So anyways, that's the goal. But this is a tough task to do. Because one, the time crunch is crazy. You're trying to hit a bunch of haunts, and most haunts are only open 3 to 5 hours per night. In fact, the longest open haunts we have found are typically 6 hours. Oftentimes, they are not close together at all.
No.
Haunts, for reasons I'm not wholly clear on, do not like opening near each other.
Yeah. Like, there were 3 in the New Orleans area that were close together.
Close-ish, yeah.
Yeah, you could do all 3 in a night if
Easily.
you really tried.
Easily. You're thinking Mortuary Chamber and House of Shock.
Yeah.
But you can still theoretically do New Orleans Nightmare now and Mortuary, but that's still a tough thing to do depending on lines and things.
Still 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, still not a huge drive between them.
No.
But yeah, you don't have Chamber right there anymore to kind of seal the deal and make that a 3-night thing. Make it a 1-night 3-haunt visit.
Yeah.
So if you want a third haunt in, good luck.
Yeah. Nope.
Not gonna happen, most likely. Not unless we're playing Cannonball Run. Now doing 120 miles an hour up I-55 trying to get Rise or going I-10 toward Rouge. Yeah. Good luck, both about equidistant. But anyways. So yeah, the time crunch is very severe. They're not close together. And you cannot readily predict how long a haunt is going to take. We're going to talk about ways to make that more predictable. But you can do a bunch of research, but you may not know how long a haunt will take, especially if the haunt has problems or issues. So basically, we have learned a great deal about planning these kinds of trips, and we pulled off some very successful ones. St. Louis, Houston, and Atlanta, we've done these types of trips. And basically, I would encourage you to go back in time, check out episodes 98 and 99. We talk about the Atlanta trip in great detail.
Yeah.
An Atlanta trip, I think that for planning a haunt trip, that was the master stroke.
Yeah, I think that's where you really found all of the tools you needed to make it work.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you were the planner for this.
Yeah, and to be clear, I will take credit for the planning. I'll take my own credit there.
Yeah.
But we both were involved in the research and
yeah.
the gathering information phase, which we're going to talk about is extremely important. In fact, in many ways, maybe more important than the planning phase. Because if you don't have good info, your planning phase is fucked.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to plan well.
Yeah.
So, yes. And I want to say this. We want to thank Japes for making it not necessary in Chicago.
Yes.
Thanks to the Lost Souls bus tour, he and the tour took care of the planning. That was nice.
It was very nice. And we still got to see multiple haunts a night. Because
3 haunts each night.
Yeah, they are fairly close.
And he planned all the timings. He planned all the tickets. The tour. The tour.
The tour did, yeah.
I should say the tour. I want to credit Japes personally for everything because we love Japes.
Yeah.
But the tour.
Yeah.
Did all this. Let's be honest. The tour did everything, and yeah, Japes owns and heads the tour. But yeah, it was amazing what they did. It was such a wonderful experience. And honestly, if you can find. If you go to Chicago and do the Lost Souls bus tour, if you find a similar bus tour in another town, take it.
Yeah.
It's so much better than doing all the bullshit I'm going to tell you to do.
Yeah. And
plus, the haunts are curated.
Yeah, and that's just something in general that I found. Like, we make fun of the hop-on, hop-off buses here because it's New Orleans.
And we're obliged to as citizens.
Yeah, exactly. But the one time that we did that...
In Budapest, yeah.
Yeah. In a city we hadn't been to, we got to see where all the tourist things were, what the areas of town were like, and where we wanted to go for not a lot.
Yeah, it was real cheap, which blew my mind. And the great thing about it in like Budapest was we knew we had like 8 or 9 tourist things everyone said we had to do.
Yeah.
You kept hearing, oh, you got to go see this, you got to go do that. And like, we don't necessarily want to do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just pay whatever it wasn't cheap, wasn't much. And you get tickets to the bus tour, and you go and you see all those things, and some of them were really very cool, and I'm glad we did see them. And then you're done.
Yeah.
One day, boom.
Yeah.
Then we got another week at least of shit we want to do.
Yeah, and going back to the few things that were on the tour to find out. And, you know, as you're driving around, you can say, oh, what's that thing? Yeah. And write it down.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is if you see something on the hop-on-off tour that you want to explore deeper, you can do more of it later.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it in one day. But anyways, take bus tours, take guided tours. They are great. They help you avoid all this work. And they give you a great deal of certainty. Because like I said, the haunts have been curated. Because one of the challenges is you can research all you want, and we'll tell you about that. But believe me, you still don't know which are the best haunts or which haunts go best together. That's the benefit of curation. So don't look at this as a substitute to a great bus tour. If it's available, take it. Just trust me.
Yeah. So Terry and Japes, good job with Lost Souls.
Yeah, Terry and Japes, great work. Thank you so much. Made that trip so much more pleasant. And especially it was nice to be able to drink beer between the various haunts.
Yeah.
Didn't get drunk or anything, but you can actually relax.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Anyways, that's nice. But anywho, so I want to start out by offering a few initial tips, some things to think about before you start even planning. First, try to plan the trip early in season. I think the first weekend or second weekend in October is the best.
Yeah.
The lines will be much shorter. The haunts should be open. And they should have had a little bit more than opening night, so the early night jitters and kinks will have been worked out. I personally believe you should try to give yourself 4 nights. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3 if that's not possible. And if I was choosing 3, I'd say Friday, Saturday, Sunday would be your nights to target. Because but this is an area where research further down may guide you in a different direction. Because
if haunts are closed in that area on Sundays but open on Thursdays, then you'll want the Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
In general, more haunts will be open Sunday than Thursday, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah, and it seems to be changing industry-wide.
Yeah, it does.
Like more haunts are opening on Thursdays.
Yeah. It's rapidly becoming kind of like the college night, if you will, because if you're in a college town, because every bar knows this, and if you're in a college town, Thursday night is college night.
Yeah.
Because no college student worth their salt has a class on Friday.
Right.
If they can at all avoid it. God, an 8 a.m. Friday class is the shits. It's the drizzling shits. And so, yeah, Thursday night is college night. So, there's an argument there. If you're driving, try to target a city that is within 8 to 10 hours of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason is this: you want to get there exhausted and not that much driving. And ideally, if you're going to drive that long, take someone with you.
Yes, don't get exhausted.
Yeah, don't go so far that you make yourself unbelievably tired and can't really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're flying, rent a fucking car.
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize that one enough. Rent a goddamn car, because what we're talking about, you cannot add the extra unpredictability of Uber, Lyft, or taxis or whatever. You just cannot do it.
Yeah.
You will fucking lose. Everything will fall apart so fast, because when you're out in the sticks trying to get that Uber that ain't going to be there for an hour, poof, your whole night just died.
Yeah, exactly. And, the other thing is you might have contacts in that area who like haunts as much as you do.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just ride along with them.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing, if you don't have to rent a car, if you can get access to one.
Exactly.
But the main thing is have a fucking car.
Yes.
That's the main point I'm trying to get at.
Don't rely on public transportation.
No public transit, because public transit probably won't be in the areas a lot of the haunts are.
And it might stop before you
are done. Yeah, it might stop at 10 p.m. before you're just warming up.
Yeah.
The band's just tuning up and the bus is naffed off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no public transit, no Uber, no Lyft. Be in charge of your own destiny. It makes things so much more predictable. Try to stick to major cities. For obvious reasons, there's likely not enough haunts in a rural area to plan a trip. Now, that said, if you have a haunt in a rural area you do want to see, maybe try to schedule it on the way. We did that with some haunts in like Birmingham, on the way to Atlanta.
Shreveport.
And Shreveport, too.
Yeah, we were in Shreveport for other reasons and saw that we could hit 2 in one night. Mm-hmm. One near the hotel and one like an hour and a half away.
Yeah. And, they were very, very, very different haunts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my advice is, stick to a major city. If you want to see a haunt that's somewhere rural, that's great. That's a separate trip. Or something to hit on the way.
Yeah.
And like I said, with the Houston trip, we made stops in Lafayette and Beaumont. We made stops at all these haunts on the way, both directions even.
Yeah.
So, consider that, but it's not going to be your destination.
Yeah, definitely look on the way whenever you're doing your research.
And you might be surprised, a lot of these rural haunts are open like 5 nights a week. Mm-hmm. They really are. So you might, or 5-6 nights a week, so you might be able to catch them even if you're passing by on like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds. I've done it. So yeah. Okay, if possible, like I said, get a guide or get a friend. Lost Souls, amazing. Have a friend there, preferably one with a car.
Yeah.
Basically, a friend or a guy can make it so much better. And a general tip for every time you're trying to cram a lot of haunts into a haunt visit, this cannot be overstated. This is the numero uno tipo of the show. Is go VIP if you can.
Yeah.
I cannot stress this enough. VIP adds maybe $10, sometimes $15 to a ticket price. But if there is a line, it can save you an hour and a half. It can save your entire night.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was one haunt in Houston where there was nobody in the VIP lines when we got there.
Yeah, that was Creepy World, wasn't it? The big, not Creepy World, what's it called?
Maybe, I don't know.
But anyways, the big theme park, big haunted park there. Yeah, they basically had no one in VIP lines, but every attraction there was running at least a 40-minute line.
Yeah. At least.
At minimum. And so what we did is we went VIP, and it only added, I think, $15 to our combined ticket. So we spent $30 between us to get it. We hit every attraction in order, saw everything they had to offer us in about an hour.
Yeah.
And we're napped off to the next haunt, like that.
Exactly.
We got to see an entire haunt park in an hour. And we got to really see it all. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like we missed anything.
No, not at all.
That's just crazy. And then we went to another haunt.
Uh-huh. So that's what we did.
So anyways, the actual steps that we take when we do it now. This is how we do it. Mm-hmm. Step 1 is starting a Google Doc. And in our case, it's a shared Google Doc.
Yeah, and specifically a spreadsheet.
Yeah. Well, we've used both. We use both sometimes. But the main thing is you need a pad. You need a place to dump information. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It can be a Google Sheet, it can be Google Doc. Now, you can actually use any type of file.
Yeah, and it may, transform from one into the other.
Yeah, and it may well do that. The main thing, I suggest Google Doc or Google Sheets, a Google Drive tool, for reasons we'll get into in a minute. But the main thing is you need to have some kind of scratch pad, some kind of notepad, some kind of vehicle for storing information you glean as you go. Basically, you want to centralize everything you learn into one place that is accessible by everyone going on the trip.
Yes.
That is the main goal. So, spreadsheets better? Good. Word processors better? Fine. I do believe a Google Doc is the best way both for shareability, accessibility, and for reasons we'll get into later. But hey, you do you. I'm not going to tell you what to use. It's just got to be a scratch pad where you can centralize that information. And bear in mind, this doesn't need to make sense to any human being that's not in the group going.
Correct.
You don't have to worry about it being pretty or making sense or being legible or readable. It can be whatever the fuck it makes sense to you. Yeah. Use whatever chaotic organization system suits you. Godspeed, good sir, madam. All right. Step 2. Write down your must-visit haunts. This is crucial. And it's crucial it happens first.
Yes.
Here's the thing. You picked the town you're going to probably because of a haunt you want to see. We didn't pick Houston for that reason, oddly enough. We didn't really have a core haunt in mind.
No.
But Atlanta, we had to see Netherworld. St. Louis, we had to see the darkness. We had haunts that we had to see for one reason or another. So basically, put those haunts on a list and set them aside. Put them at the very top of that document. Put them in big, bold letters. Make sure you can't miss it if it helps. But write down your must-see haunts. And one rule of thumb here is don't go crazy with them. Because you're going to find out putting in a lot of have-to-dos kind of fucks your trip up.
Yeah. Maybe one have to do a day if you need to.
I personally prefer doing one have-to-do per trip.
Yeah.
But definitely not more than one per day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in an area that's got like 20 amazing haunts, then just pick 3.
Yeah, you're going to have to make sacrifices. And here's the thing. Here's the dirty secret we haven't told anyone yet. You can make multiple haunt trips to the same city. It's true. No one checks. There's no law against it, and no one checks. So if you're in an area like, say, Columbus, for example, that has a lot of haunts, and you just have so many haunts you have to see, okay, slow down. Maybe this is a 2-trip thing.
Yeah.
So maybe pick the 2 or 3 you prioritize the most, and put the rest on a very nice to have list. Very nice, very evil list. Put them aside. And do that. And the reason you want to do that is, like I said, if you're going to say we have to see these, you're going to be planning around them. And that's very hard to do if you've got a fucking laundry list of them. If you're like the brat visiting Santa Claus with a list 10 miles long, you're gonna be disappointed. You're gonna be very sad. So 1 to 2 or the most 1 per day.
Yeah, exactly.
Step 3 is research. I cannot emphasize this enough, and I'll say this. I follow the no stone unturned policy on all the trips, and yet in at least 2 of them, I've learned about haunts while we were there. I got ambushed.
Yeah.
And that happens. It's okay.
It does. One of the ways to mitigate that is to go, if you get there early and you're in town, look around town, see if there's a costume shop, go into it, see if they have a flyer.
Honestly, and if you can't find a costume shop, just find a Spirit Halloween.
Yeah. Or, if there's like a local dark bar.
Or the other thing you can do, and this may work better in some places and or touristy places and non-touristy places, check your hotel's card thing.
Yeah.
You will find a lot of information there that you may not see online. Those things are still incredibly useful. And as stupid and as ugly and as patronizing as they can be, they can be amazingly useful. The tourist information thing with the little vertical cards, those things are wonderful. But yeah, leave no stone unturned when you search. Google the hell out of the city. Check Instagram. Check Facebook. Get in the haunters groups that you're in and ask for suggestions. Basically, get a list of haunts that look interesting. Try to plot any haunt that you may in any way be interested in going to.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of the level of interest. And the reason of that is, okay, you may have a haunt that's a low interest to you, but you may find it fits in perfectly in one of the days, and there's literally no reason not to go to it as well.
Exactly. That's how we found some of our favorite haunts. Yeah. Is by, oh, look, there's this thing over here we didn't know about. It's a surprise, and surprises are awesome.
Yeah, like Freaks of Fear near Atlanta.
Yeah.
That one. That was such a weird thing, because we did not learn about it until we got there. Mm-hmm. But it was literally like a mile from a haunt we had just been to.
Yeah.
Up a field near the VFW. It was weird. The whole thing was weird. But it was one of the most memorable experiences we had in Atlanta.
Yeah. Waterloo was also a surprise. We didn't know about it being in the area.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, try to, even if you don't necessarily like scream of excitement about a haunt that you're reading about, put it on the list, because it may just be so perfectly placed, it'd be a waste not to go. Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking for. So yeah, find that list of haunts that look promising you might have any interest in going to, and then get the following pieces of information if you can. Mm-hmm. 1, what days and times are they open? That's the most important piece to get. In addition to where they're located, obviously. You should have their location. What makes them interesting to you? About how long do they take? This is the most difficult piece of information to find, but if you can find it, it's a good thing to include. What haunts might they pair well with? Are they mentioning shared deals with other haunts and things like that? Like I know here in Southeast Louisiana, at least in previous years, there have been that haunt VIP where they would share access and
haunt pass type thing.
Yeah, haunt. I can't remember what it was. Haunt. Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but they did a thing, punch card thing. Those haunts would pair together very well naturally.
Yeah, basically you paid full VIP at one and then got an upgrade to VIP at the next. And that worked well.
Yeah, and also a big one, are they cash only?
And another one is, what's the price?
Yeah, price, just in general price. But yeah, get all this, price. Yeah, like I said, we're trying to save money here, but let's be honest, that is a distant second concern when we do these trips. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Grab contact information for each haunt you research. Includes website, email, and phone number. Mm-hmm. May be useful in a pinch if you find yourself struggling to find them.
Right.
Your GPS is fucking with you. You can call them and say, hey, what the hell?
Yeah, and we've done that a couple of times because it was unclear from the site whether or not they were open.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be, but there was, like, Google and Facebook were having fights about whether or not they were open, so we just called.
And then you have some outdoor haunts, which say, will be open except in inclement weather, and you pull up your weather radar and you see that weather is in the area, but maybe not there. Mm-hmm. So you got to call them and figure out, okay, are you guys open yet?
Yeah.
Are you guys open today? Because I see that there's a front coming in,
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's very helpful to have that contact information in this centralized place. Mm-hmm. Whatever that centralized place is. Basically, just vacuum up every little piece of it, eat it up, and put it in that aforementioned document.
Yeah. And that's why I really like the spreadsheet, is because you can parse all of that out. You can, this is what I'm looking for from each of these places. I mean, it's great to have one place just to dump all of the information, all of the names of the places.
And that's just it. What you can do, and what maybe you should do, honestly, is start with the docs as a scratch pad, mm-hmm. just to paste all the information and get it in, and then take it into a spreadsheet to organize it and make that your more final version.
And that's really how we usually work.
Yeah, it usually is. But basically, get centralized location, hoover up information, drop it in there. I don't really care how you organize it. Everyone's brain works differently. Find your own system.
I like boxes.
You do like boxes. I've noticed this. You really do like boxes. It's kind of disturbing how much you like boxes sometimes. Anyways, step 4. This is the big one. This is the fun one. Mm-hmm. The power of Google Maps. Mm-hmm. Go into your Google Drive. Oh, remember I was saying try to start doing Google Drive stuff? Mm-hmm. We've come back around, haven't we? Mm-hmm. Woo! That's right, though. Go into Google Drive and create a new map. Bet you didn't know you could do that.
I bet some people listening did.
I bet some people did, but I bet a lot of people didn't. Yeah. So what you do in Google Docs is you hit the new drop down in Google Drive rather. You hit the new drop down, and then you go to more, and then more again and more again and more. It's like it's crazy how they bury it.
As far down as you can get.
It's basically the very bottom of the shit you can create new in Google Drive, but it is an amazing tool.
Mm-hmm.
So create a new savable map. It is an amazing feature. And I cannot, in the space of this podcast, we're already 30 minutes in, basically. So we do not have time to explain how to use all these features. Look up a tutorial, find a YouTube video, get the info. It's all there, trust me. But step one here is you've created the map. First is to adjust the focal point to like right over the city. Mm-hmm. So that way when you open the map, it defaults to your search area. Easy enough to do. Then add layers. You need to add one layer for each night that you're staying, a layer for hotels, and maybe one for any daytime activities you're planning.
If you haven't wiped yourself out like we normally do.
Yeah, we're not big on the daytime activities. Our best daytime activity is getting a late lunch.
Yeah.
With a beer at
What's the local cuisine? Let's try that.
It's basically a drink, a lunch, and maybe a walk through historic areas. That's all we really have the energy for. But hey, maybe you're younger, maybe you're more virile, you can do stuff. That's great. Good for you. So you'll want to have a layer for daytime activities. But basically, just name the layers based on what they represent. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Pretty obvious.
Day, night.
And then here's the magic secret. Add to that layer all the haunts that you know that are open on that day and with the hours beside them. So, for example, we place on Thursday a pin for Netherworld that says Netherworld space 7-12. To indicate it opens at 7, closes at 12. And this means an individual haunt can and should be on multiple layers. For example, if a haunt is open on Friday and Saturday, it's on the Friday and Saturday layer, but not the Thursday-Sunday layer, if you're doing that.
Right.
And what this does, and the reason this is so powerful and so cool, is you can click through and see what haunts are open on a given day, see where they're located near each other, and what you may want to do as far as that day. You may find there's a cluster of haunts open on Thursday that you can visit while you're waiting for the Friday haunts to open.
Mm-hmm.
And patterns will emerge very quickly if you do this. You get about 20-ish haunts in this, 15, 20 haunts, somewhere in that range. You're going to see some patterns. Yeah. And it's really, it just becomes very obvious what you should do. Right. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Well, and since it's on a map, you can also see, are these things close together?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Are they really, really popular? Sometimes it'll even tell you this is a less popular night for this attraction.
Exactly.
That's the night you want to go.
You can use the features of Google Maps here to basically see what haunts group together, what haunts you can trivially hit with each other, and when you have to do it. Mm-hmm. Because you might see, like I said, there's this group here that I really want to hit, but they're only open Friday or Saturday, so that becomes our Friday or Saturday night thing. But look, out here, there's a group of haunts that's actually available to us Thursday. Maybe that'll be our Thursday loop, even if we're not as interested in them. And that's exactly how we plan it. We look for these groups based upon the day, and that becomes our day.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. That's it. This makes it very easy to go through the days, see what haunts are possible in one evening. That's it. That's the magic of it. Using your eyes and looking and see what dots are closer together than other dots. It's a very, very bad mobile game. That's what it is. Okay, then after that, you got to start planning your days. Start with your first day. Look at the haunts that are easy to get to from one another. Are any of them one of the must-see haunts? If so, do that loop. Figure that out. Make it work. And what you'll probably want to do next is create driving directions between the haunts. Now you'll notice I haven't said from your hotel to the haunts yet, so we ain't discussed hotels yet. We're getting there. So basically, between the haunts, starting with the first haunt that you likely want to see that night, and ending with the latest to close. And the first one you want to see is typically the first one to open. If you're doing this about as right as possible, you're going to be at that first haunt right at 7:05, right at 7, or 6:05, whatever that opening time is.
Now, should you do the opening time or should you do the must-see first? Sometimes they're the same.
Sometimes they're the same. Time. My opinion would be to do the time thing first.
Okay.
And the reason for that is especially if the must-see haunt is a second haunt on that trip.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is this. You're definitely going to make it to the first haunt.
Yeah.
Barring a car accident or a car breakdown or something horrible going wrong, blows up the entire day, you're going to make it to the first haunt. You're almost certainly going to make it to the second haunt, too.
Mm-hmm.
If you go VIP and you move reasonably quick, you can get 2 haunts in a night, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And you can usually, almost always, get the third. It's the fourth that becomes dubious. So maybe don't put it at the very end, but if it's second or third, I still feel pretty confident you're going to make it.
Yeah, I do too. And, that was one mistake that I think that we made on the Atlanta trip.
Yeah.
Is that we went to Netherworld first.
Yeah.
And wanted to hang out so much longer than we did.
But we couldn't. We had a big night planned.
Yeah, exactly. If we had moved that towards the end of the night, then we could have stayed around.
And we learned from that lesson when doing Houston.
Yes.
Because for that one, we picked our last haunt to be the place that served free beer.
Yes.
And made sure we got a hotel that's literally across the street from it.
Oh, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is thinking with portals. So, yeah, we learned from that mistake. So yeah, that's a good point. But also make sure. So I would say if you have a must-see haunt, if it's not going to be your first haunt, which it may be just depending upon location and ability to hit things, making it your third makes sense. Because that way you can say, okay, we don't care as much about the fourth now.
Right.
We get to spend basically until they kick us out.
Yeah. Yeah, or you can get there and it not be overwhelming or,
Not feel the need to hang around and do all the things and just go to the fourth one. And now it becomes a choice. The fourth is the optional one. Exactly. I would say second or third is the best place to put it, honestly. Probably third in most cases. But here's the secret. Create driving directions between the haunts, starting with the first and going to the last, and see how long it takes to get between them. For me, the personal goal is less than an hour driving time between them. If it's more than 90 minutes, I'm probably looking for a new plan.
Yeah.
Because 60 minutes, think about it, once again, you're looking at 7 to midnight is your maximum haunt time, basically, likely maximum haunt time. If you spend an hour in the car, that's 1/5 of your magic time in a car, not at a haunt.
Yeah.
And that doesn't count time parking and walking to haunts and ticket booth time and stuff like that.
And lines.
So, yeah, you want to minimize your driving time. I try to keep it under an hour driving time per day, not counting to and from the hotel. We're getting there. And that way we're not eating into our haunt time trying to get between haunts. So yeah, experiment with routes and haunt order and do what you got to see what makes sense. Even if a haunt does open earlier, it may make sense to hit it later because it fits more naturally with the drive. Figure it out. Take some time. This is experimentation here. There's no right answer here. But basically plan your day. And then, step 6, plan the other days.
Yeah.
Yay! And soon you'll have planned a haunt trip. Now, here's where things get a little fudgy. Look at the starting points. In fact, one thing, you may want to create an additional layer for just your starting points. Because you can make infinite layers. It's great. I'm addicted to layers in Google Maps. I have a hardcore problem for layers in Google Maps. It's a bad addiction. I'll tell you what. But anyways, look at your starting points and see if there's like a centralized point between them, a centralized area. And then look for hotels in that area.
The sweet spot.
That sweet spot. You want to find a hotel that is as close to the center as you can. Now here's the thing. That may not work. If your paths are too far apart or on dead opposite sides of the city or whatever, you may need to get 2 hotels. We did that in Houston. We actually did that in Houston. We moved hotels. But we did not do it in St. Louis or Atlanta. We were able to find a reasonably central location to make it work. In those. And part of the reason that can work so well is because, as we've been talking about, there aren't a lot of haunted attractions in major downtown areas. So where you think of the big city hotels and the expensive hotels are, that's probably not going to be the center point.
No.
The center point, more than likely, is going to be an out-of-way outer ring hotel that's fairly cheap.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, you'll probably find multiple opportunities for a cheap hotel that is still decent and not likely to get you killed, and get you to your first round of haunts very, very quickly. And for us, what we typically do is we leave the hotel, go eat something, and target being at the first haunt within 10 minutes of it opening. And then start the day. Or night, rather. Mm-hmm. That's usually what we do. So yeah, you can usually find a cheap hotel in that area. But like I said, if you need to get multiple hotels, that's not ideal. But we've done it, and it's better than, it's better than taking a 2-hour drive to try to get to the 7 p.m. haunt time.
Yeah.
Especially in a city you're not familiar with. So just move the fucking hotel if you have to. Yeah. Please. It's so much easier. And especially, and it's not so much the drive to the first haunt that's the problem. It's the drive after the last haunt that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're tired, and that's when you have the longest drive of the night. Mm-hmm. So be thinking about that too. And step 8 is optional. Look for things to do during the day. If you are young and full of energy and you're just a basket full of needing to do shit, good for fucking you. But just find some things to do in the day. Look at where your hotel is. Look at where the haunts are. And see if there are any weird attractions or anything that might be interesting. You're probably not going to be able to do the things that people associate with the city. Like, we didn't do City Museum or the St. Louis Arch on the St. Louis run.
No.
They were nowhere near the places we wanted to be. Mm-mm. So, fuck that. We didn't do those things.
Yeah, but we knew we were coming back to that
we did
city,
we did them
eventually.
We did them later, but we didn't do them on that trip.
No.
But same thing. You don't do the things that maybe are the biggest tourist attractions in the city. You're not going to go to Bourbon Street during the daytime. You wouldn't go to Bourbon Street during the daytime anyway. I don't know why you would. That's a stupid fucking night. Okay, you wouldn't go to the Aquarium of the Americas here in New Orleans, or the World War II Museum.
At night?
During the day, and then do haunts at night.
Oh, yeah.
The location is terrible, and those activities are going to drain even the youngling's life.
Yeah, World War II Museum is an all-day event.
Basically.
However, the Pharmacy Museum, that's doable.
That's doable, even though it is downtown, but still, that's a hell of a drive. Mm-hmm. Hell of a getting around problem.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, basically though, look for things to do during the day, but I would say don't make them drinking things, because you need to be top-notch to drive and do all the haunts that evening. Mm-hmm. If you want to celebrate with a drink or two, celebrate it after you're back.
Yes, we have another layer for where we're going afterwards when we get back to town, close to the hotel.
Yeah, and like we like one of the things we typically do when we're staying at any hotel is we try to find a bar just nearby, so that if we need that decompression time, we can go there.
Yeah, that's open really late.
It's open late, and we can just hit that up and hang out for a minute. Fuck with your touch tunes and basically
maybe get some bar snacks.
And get some bar snacks and move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good tip also. But yeah, layers and Google Maps are fucking magical. You'll never convince me otherwise.
No.
And I'm going to assume there are other mapping applications that can do it too, but I learned with Google Maps, and I think most people would be most familiar with it and could easily pick it up. So, because it's not that if you've used anything in Google Docs before, you can do this. Just use your head, is what I'm saying. All right, and to bring it all home, to wrap it up, some general things to do while you're on the trip. These are great tips.
Yeah.
First things first.
All right, when between haunts, record your thoughts.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We have done this every time we've gone to haunt trips, because they get blurred together real easy.
If you hit 4 haunts in a night, I will challenge you in 24 hours to remember something unique to each haunt. Mm-hmm. That's how quickly it'll happen, too.
Yeah, it is. Because we challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we get up the next morning and we're like, what was that? What haunt?
We did that weird haunt. What was it called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
basically what we do, and if this is easier to do if you're driving with someone for obvious reasons, but what we do is one of us has their phone out for navigation. Because we're navigating to the next haunt. And the passenger pulls out their phone, hits the little recorder button. You have a little recorder on your iPhone or your Android phone. And we just both talk about the haunt. We go back and forth for 10, 15 minutes while we're driving and discuss what we saw, what the most memorable things were, and any thoughts we had.
Yeah, and if time allows, you can also just take 5 or 10 minutes outside of the haunt after it's over near your car.
Yeah.
And do the same thing before you start driving.
Exactly. It's great if you're, especially if you're traveling alone. Mm-hmm. And here's a sneaky cheat. Yeah. You can actually use YouTube. You can upload them as private videos and have YouTube transcribe them for you for free.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Such a beautiful thing. You can also use a transcription service on like otter.ai or something. But you can just, YouTube transcription is good enough.
Yep.
So that if you dump it all into a text file, you have text notes and you can search through. What was that about Camp Blood again? What did we say about that? I can look in my Google Docs and see what we said about Camp Blood on the night we went to Camp Blood.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so cool. Next item up for bid, try to hit the gift shops if you can, even if it's something tiny, even if it's a pin or a keychain, just something from each haunt, a little knick-knack, a little souvenir. I know a lot of haunters out there collect t-shirts, but at this point, I think if we bought t-shirts at every attraction we went to, our closet would be nothing but haunt shirts.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, we got to go to work.
Yeah, a lot of people do buy the patches also.
Yeah, the patches
which are much more compact.
Yeah, that's great. So even if it's something small, get a little thing, a little knick-knack, a little souvenir, a little trophy from each haunt.
Yeah. Talk with other customers and with the employees if you can while you're there.
Yeah.
Because, especially if you wear your haunt shirt, people are going to notice.
Yeah. We often go with our Haunt Weekly shirt because, and we're not looking for free shit. We're not looking for anything. No. But, hey, the employee's like, hey, Haunt Weekly, what's that? Oh, it's a podcast we do about haunted attractions. We're visiting. Oh, that's so cool. Well, tell me about this haunt. What's the deal with it?
Yeah.
And what you'll find very quickly is that both customers and people that are able to talk, obviously, don't fuck with the scare actors, obviously. No. Use your goddamn brain, people. Everything in this podcast we preface with don't be stupid. But
this is a new slogan.
Don't be stupid. Haunt Weekly. But yeah, basically if you can talk with people, that is incredibly powerful, incredibly useful, and it gives you a better feel of the vibe of the place and might gain some information you would have otherwise had.
Yeah.
Next item up for bid. Try to get in groups with other customers, especially if you're going solo or just one other person. This is a great way to experience a haunt, going with locals and seeing how they react to it. It's a very powerful tool to understand the context of the haunt and can really change your perspective on it.
Yeah. And just remember to go with the flow and have fun. Yeah. These are supposed to be fun.
Yeah, I admit I am terrible at this and I'm working on it.
Yeah.
This is a part of my personality and how I was raised and how my vacations were planned that I struggle with even today. Yeah.
But if something like they are closed because they had everybody come down sick with the haunt crud, they can't open. Well, you just
it's an outdoor haunt in the rain.
Yeah. You just have to have backups.
Move on to the next haunt.
Yeah.
Move on to the next haunt. You've got that Google map. You've got those notes. You can quickly pivot. And that's one of the great things about having all that information is if something does come up, either you learn about a new haunt or a haunt that you were trying to go to can't be hit for whatever reason, boom, you've got alternatives right there. You can make backup plans immediately on the spot. It's so great. So yeah, just try to roll with the punches and have fun. Remember to enjoy this. That's what this is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think that covers it. A lot of great advice there, I think, for people planning haunt trips. Basically, try to relax and have fun. I think that is so important. And it's something that a lot of people honestly forget.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I think, I know this is true for me, I get so focused on the things I want to do. These are the things I want to do that I forget to plan out the rest of the day around it.
Yeah.
And lots of times, we are pretty fly by the seat of our pants. Yeah. Except for haunt tours. That's the most structured we get.
Yeah. Going back to that trip to Budapest.
Yeah.
After the hop on, hop off tour, I don't think we planned a single goddamn thing.
Nope.
We just woke up and said, what do you feel like doing?
Yeah.
And honestly, all of our best travel memories have been unplanned things.
Yeah.
Realistically, that's just the truth. Having things fail, but fail up.
Yeah.
is an incredible feeling.
It is.
Like when our plants blew up in Newcastle, England,
right.
one time, that's how we had what I call my most wonderful, amazing day ever.
It was.
Because it was an absolutely incredible day. We failed and fell upward as we did it.
Yeah.
We ended up doing something much cooler than what we intended. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, go with the flow, have fun, but definitely use the tools to give yourself a plan, because the important thing isn't that the plan goes perfectly.
Right.
It's that you have the fucking plan.
Yeah, it goes well enough.
Yeah. On that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending the past hour with us. We greatly appreciate it. Sorry this episode's going to be a little bit late. Hope y'all can understand. Blame AEW. Don't blame us. But until next time, check out more Haunt Weekly. There's tons more. Check it out at hauntweekly.com. We're Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/Haunt Weekly is the YouTube channel. Subscribe there. Give some likes. Give some love. And, yeah, it's a great way to access all those episodes, including 98 and 99, the ones we talk about our Atlanta trip. Mm-hmm. But until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you all next week.